I'd say the beer is very similar to what we were producing, only better. We used to run, for instance, 3 shifts, almost 6 days a week. Now I'm able to run 2 shifts, 4 days a week to produce the same amount of product. It's a very easy system to manipulate to make changes whenever you want to add a new recipe. It actually makes handcrafting and sculpting of the brews easier because your level of control is so much higher.
Harpoon Brewery makes around 66,000 barrels a year at its Boston, Massachusetts facility and distributes throughout North America's eastern seaboard. The craft brewer wanted to expand its brew house and automate its process for greater efficiency and consistency while maintaining its handcrafted quality.
While we were very happy with the product quality that we had, we felt that there's always room for improvement. And it was at that point we looked at finances, what is it we can afford, what is the payback, what really are we going to gain from this?
Harpoon implemented an innovative brewing process from German brewing equipment specialist Harpoon.
We are currently using the dynamic low pressure boiling technique from Harpoon. It is the first installation of its kind in the United States. The control portion of that is very important because you're dealing with boiling under pressure. So anytime you're dealing with a pressurized vessel, you need to have very stringent regulations and controls.
To automate that process, Harpoon selected the DeltaV digital automation system from EMERSON Process Management.
The initial configuration was a joint effort between Harpoon and EMERSON. We had one American engineer and one German engineer basically sitting side by side, getting everything up and running, and they had done the programming together so that they were able to bring in the brewing side and then the programming side and get it to mesh and bridge the English-German language barrier and make everything function properly. And the DeltaV platform is supporting it very, very well.
The difference was, like I said, we were used to ladder logic, and we come over here to the type of module systems that we bring up on the screen. We see module blocks now rather than a line of logic.
For Harpoon, the digital automation system's batch historian proved an invaluable asset.
One of the nice things about the automation in the DeltaV system is that it enables us to go back and look at what we've done because of the recording process. In the past, when we were brewing, a brewer would record down, yes, the temperature was 168 degrees. Well, was it? Did it change? How long was it at 168 degrees? Now we can go back through the program and scroll back in sort of real time and say, okay, it was 160 degrees at this point, it was 160.8 at this point, and it really gives us an opportunity to go back and say, what happened during this particular brew? Is there anything we want to change?
We're able to know exactly when we're out of spec as far as water temperature, mashing temperatures, sparging temperatures, whereas with an older system, which has a little more romance and valve turning and running up and down stairs, we're able to know when we're a degree off, and we can go and work on that, for the following brew and make sure that we're going to be okay.
If a change is made, within minutes it's been recorded, and we can go back and look and say, geez, 15 minutes ago somebody changed something, and probably this has caused us a problem. So that type of diagnostic in trouble history and alarm history is very good. It's a nice part of the system.
The idea that we can leave the system running is obviously a perk for us. We're never too far away from it, but we do have other responsibilities down on the floor while it's running, and it's nice to know that we're running a sparge at 168 degrees or 169 degrees. We can be confident that it'll stay right there.
Harpoon saved on operator training.
I spent about 3 hours one day with the local EMERSON rep, and he ran me through some of the diagnostics and things of that sort, and it's worked out fine.
My boss, Al Marzi, took a course, I think a couple of week classroom course on the operating system, and he basically did an in-house training session with a couple of us, and now we're training people to use the system.
Harpoon's operators found most of their troubleshooting solutions within the system's intuitive operator interface.
The books online are very helpful, because if you need to look at a piece of equipment to tell what it does, whether it's looking for a sinking source, a sinking or a sourcing voltage, you can find that in books online. You don't have to dig through a lot of paperwork. You can bring it up on the screen, put in whatever module you're looking for, whatever I/O card or an analog card you need, and you can bring the thing right up. And also it tells you how it operates. It tells you whether it's optically coupled, things of that sort, which is very useful in troubleshooting. So I enjoy having the books online right on the screen at all times.
Local or online, Harpoon found the support it needed.
Local support was really one of the great selling points for this. New England Controls is right down the road from us. They are here in a heartbeat.
I have had to make a call and get somebody in St. Louis, on a Saturday afternoon, and they've been able to either get online on my machine and repair a problem, or tell me what I could do to get around a problem.
We're able to call right now both locally and to an office in St. Louis, and they're very good about getting right on a problem and telling us, maybe walking us through a problem or getting to it in 24 hours, so that our next day of brewing we see the effect in our next day of brewing.
And the results of the EMERSON-Huppman automation system?
In this case, I'd say the beer is very similar to what we were producing, only better. And the reason it's better is because the shelf life is that much more, has been extended. And that's really one of the things you're looking for. But as I mentioned, we distribute as far north as Maine, as far south as South Carolina. Our beer has to be as good in the farther reaches as it is right in our home state. Since the beer now has a longer shelf life, we would have the opportunity to expand our geographical region for distribution. That isn't currently in our plan, but it's just nice to know that you have a security of having a product that will last longer out in the market.
I would say that we are definitely making more consistent beer batch for batch, as opposed to a manual brew house. We're able to leave a sparge cycle and basically walk away from the system and to set up a fermenter, to pitch yeasts, etc. So our consistency is greatly improved.
We do make a number of different products here, and we do add products from time to time. It has been very easy to add a different style of beer with the program that we have. I can go in and copy most of what already exists from one of the brews, and then simply change the parameters that need to be altered for each brew, whether it's a hop addition, whether it's a mash temperature, a sparge temperature, times, mash loads in the mash mixer. It's a very easy system to manipulate to make changes whenever you want to add a new recipe.
Well, the two things that the purchase, besides quality improvements, on the efficiency side, raw material use and labor use, those are the labor productivity. Those are the two things that we are looking at improving, and we have.
We have been able to improve some of the efficiencies time-wise because of the automation. We've also gained a lot because of the size of the equipment. We used to run, for instance, 3 shifts almost 6 days a week. Now I'm able to run 2 shifts 4 days a week to produce the same amount of product. And that product, as we said, is more consistent and of a higher quality.
I think the work environment is greatly improved here. We have no more overnight shifts, which is great. It's good for everybody involved, and we're able to eke out a little bit more beer into our cellars. Right now, we would have to add fermentation tanks to add a shift, and that's someday in the future. But we're pretty happy with the new schedule, definitely.
But what does the transition to digital automation do to the handcrafted quality the brewer stakes its reputation on?
An initial response from some of the craft brewers or some of the home brewers was, oh wow, you're going to become this sort of gigantic brewery Death Star and you're going to lose your handcrafted appeal. And the interesting part is it couldn't be farther from the truth. In fact, the opposite has happened. We have better control in the ability to handcraft the beers now more so than we did in the past. Because, as I had mentioned earlier, our level of control is that much higher. So instead of just adding ingredients willy-nilly and hoping that the temperature comes out right, the brewers can sit at the program and say, I want to raise this 1 degree. I want to raise it 1.5 degrees. I want to change that hop addition by 5 minutes and know that I'm going to be able to repeat that each time. It actually makes handcrafting and sculpting of the brews easier because your level of control is so much higher.
and the return on Harpoon's automation investment?
This is the first year of this expansion, so we've enjoyed how it's worked, and we think it has been a good investment. We think it's been a good investment, and we think it's going to be even a better investment. I guess our two goals are to be the most respected brewery in New England, and also to be a place where everybody believes is a great place to work. And I think what we've done here with the investment we've made in the expansion and automating our brew house works towards both of those goals.